We are live. With those immortal words, In the Metal started its illustrious career of online webcasting on the subject of independent watches. Just almost exactly 12 months ago, 16th of April was our debut day. So we're celebrating our anniversary tonight, and we're going to have a little chat about with a couple of the people who helped us to do this in the first place and get this off the ground, and to see how we what lies in store for the year ahead, and to have a chat with a couple of our great friends. So to get started off, as ever, I am going to reach across to Gun Barrel City in the state of Texas, United States, and to introduce Mr. Dan. Oh my goodness, man! Look at those guns.
Guns! Gun barrel! Gun! I could stretch my daughter here, see? What's going on, Johnny? Happy New Year! Happy New Year! Happy New Year! Oh, wait, no, it's not New Year. It's birthday.
Something like that there. Like, best of health to you, my friend. We're celebrating 1 year of, I know, that's right. I hope you don't mind.
I did that once during the recording of my first album. I was a little bit drunk, and they did one of those flaming shots that I had never seen before. But I was already drunk. And then the story was I hit my forehead and I was burst into flames. And then
Rammstein got their idea.
And Neil Turbin, their first singer for Anthrax, he saved my life and put me out because I was just sitting there burning to death. So.
Hey man, there's no point in going half measure, we got to give all for our passion, for our trade.
Well, Johnny, look, man, I'm going to interrupt you because I just want to say thank you to you for doing this with me. I know it was an out of the blue thing that we came together on this and decided to try to make an impact in truthfulness for independent watchmaking and bring it to some people maybe that wouldn't have seen what we do here, and bring some of the people out of the shadows that are my past friends or your friends who we've had people on the show that blew both our minds because they're people that never did a video interview or never did an interview or were somewhat embarrassed because they couldn't speak English correctly, but we convinced them, it will be great. And it was amazing. And afterwards, everybody, we hang up and turn this off and we talk to them and they love it because it's just like we're all out to dinner, right? On a 1 year anniversary bash, having a drink or whatever it may be, and just, shooting the shit. And really letting people inside an independent watchmaker's mind and creativity. And we show their workshops now, things that they might have hidden before. And that's really what this is all about. Like watching me here, build machines and cut my fingers and what it really takes, And I think it's really cool, man. I think we did something this first year. And I just want to say thank you to you for coming along for this ridiculous ride.
Dan, it's been a blast. When we started this, folks, 12 months ago, virtually to the day, we were winging it, let me tell you.
Still winging it.
Still winging it, absolutely, which is the best way. And I often tell our guests, whenever they're wondering, what do I need to do? What do I need to prepare? And I go, prepare nothing. It's not the evening news. It's not the serious thing that, so if it's not perfect, so what? In actual fact, the fact that it's not perfect, I kind of gravitate towards that. And so I think it's less intimidating when, if things don't go 100% to plan, so what? So that's in the metal.
It's your style of writing, which is so incredible that everyone's enjoyed for so long. Now they can put a face to it, of course. But and also, I think a little bit is in my past life I've been interviewed so many times every day of my past life to have there's like these normal way that people interview. Every single question is the same, whatever city or country I go to. And then there's that one freakazoid dude that shows up and has the coolest questions ever. And it's just a casual thing. Those were the casual things, like, dude, like, what kind of cereal do you eat? You know, just stupid stuff. And that's in the metal. You know, that's it.
It is, and it's been brilliant fun, and it has been it's a rough diamond, if you call it. But you know something, it has been a very genuine thing, a very personal thing. We have seen some sides of people and their watches, etc., that you really don't get to see ever. And I've made some fantastic friends. We have showcased some incredible watches. And I think as time goes forward, we will continue to do those things and
more.
Yeah, absolutely. So here, do you know what? We have some friends lined up because it is a party tonight, Dan. And yes, you got it, my man. You know, I'm not going to sing either. We were debating about who should sing the theme tune tonight, Dan. So luckily,
we have John with Pietro.
Luckily, we have Eva Leube who's going to sing for us tonight. And good evening, Eva.
Hi, guys. Good to see you.
It's wonderful to have you back again.
Awesome.
Fantastic.
Hasn't been that long already. Unbelievable.
That's life. Where does the time go? It just goes by in a flash. So, but here, Eva, usually we have 3 windows for the Johnny, Dan, and Eva, our guest tonight. Tonight we have another guest. He's a little bit closer to home for me. He is in Ireland and just outside the fair town of Athlone, and it is Mr. John McGonigle.
Yay!
Hi guys.
Hey John.
How are you?
Congratulations when you're on.
Thank
Who
you.
would ever have thought?
Yeah. I'm not surprised. It's a brilliant format. It's a brilliant format. It's great fun to be part of, and you know, from listening to other guests as well, it's also very entertaining to watch. So, well done.
Who would ever have a bluffer like me would get 12 months out of this, eh? So
Sure, you're only starting, Johnny.
we're only starting. You're right, my friend. But you know what? This is all very cozy. We actually have another guest who is a great friend to all of us as well. A guy who I work with on a daily basis and communicate non-stop 7 days a week, even early in the morning. Isn't that right, Pietro? And
It's chill, master.
Amico mio.
Hey Pietro.
Happy birthday. I'm truly honored to be here, and I'm not just saying this as a formality, because you people in front of my screen now, in different ways, you've been such an influence and such an inspiration for whatever, you know, I'm doing and whatever purpose I found in my life. And with Dan, it dates, you know, from the 80s, you know, as I'm showing today. So Dan doesn't stop being an influence for me. And the world of the independent watchmakers, and Johnny, the work that you've been doing in the last 15 years since I came across to it, has been absolutely fundamental. So it's great to be here, and happy birthday, everyone.
Thank you so much for the kind words, Pietro. And I throw them Johnny's way as well. You know, when I would read his columns, and it was just, his writing is just incredible. So thank you for joining forces with independent watchmaking and helping us all. All of us greatly appreciate it.
Well, listen, guys, thank you everybody so much. The writing is something I love writing. I'm so privileged to be able to do that. I wish I was faster at it, and I dither over words, I dither over adjectives and superlatives. As poor Pietro knows, you know, an article for me, there's so many different superlatives and adjectives in it. You know, way over the top, far more than is needed. But I cannot do it any other way. And I've tried to just go, this is Steve Watts, 42 millimeter.
That's rock and roll, Johnny, and that's independence as well. Try to tell Eva Leube if she can be told, when to make a watch, or Dan Spitz or John McGonigle. Those are the artists. So, I think you are very much in the same frequency.
Yeah, the words you just said pretty much apply to what we all do as well. We don't let it leave our bench until it's past done. Someone has to actually pry it out of our hands.
Yeah, well, when it comes to writing down, I'm like, my content is as regular as Pink Floyd albums. So,
well, there you go. It's never done. It's never done there either.
Pietro wants a blend of Pink Floyd and the Foo Fighters, so that it's excellent and is an album every year. So
I mean, if you were making an album on a houseboat like they do, Pink Floyd did for so many years, why would you want to leave and finish it anyway?
Well, that's it here. Yeah. Anyway, listen. So yes, goodness me, there's 11 minutes gone already. Do you know what I forgot to say, Dan? Thank you for thanking me. Thank you for being part of being the special sauce to make this thing happen every week as well. And so it's
I just felt that we've got some technical problems here for sure. I don't know if you all have them. Do you all hear when I hear it? Yeah, serious echo somewhere. It's the same. Just trying to do the same thing in independent watchmaking, versus something very similar that what thrash metal did for music, and that is bring friends together and bring that loving environment together. So hopefully we can achieve that. We've done a good first year and laid a good foundation, and we can take it from there. I mean, look, I'm sitting here telling Ava she's got to get her ass in gear and start making watches again, and here she is, right, smiling from ear to ear. She's got a new workshop. She's going. So hopefully everyone can get blessed through what we do, Johnny.
Absolutely. So here when we go to our guests and say, what's growing, Ava? It's been you were episode 4 that you joined us, and I'll tell you what I remember about that, Ava, was the light began to disappear, and that happened to us recently again with Armand Biar, and something we don't learn. But so how have things been going with you, Ava, since we spoke last?
That was a good effect with the light, wasn't it? No. Not happened last time. I moved house, I moved workshop, found a new home for my workshop.
Yeah. And you're in a new workshop now?
Yeah. And brilliant. I'm very happy. Excellent. By the way, I just want to let you know I got a surprise for you. So whenever you're ready for it, you let me know, maybe towards the end of the show.
We love surprises, don't we, Dan?
Yes, we do. Wait, tell everyone more about the workshop, and are you at the bench again? Are you working? What are you working on? Tell us all. Feed us.
Yeah, I moved my workshop to Lake Zurich, and it's beautiful here. It's not party hell, but it's really beautiful. I can show you around if you want. Very small.
Yeah.
It's very small, but everything that I need, nothing I don't. I'm probably more at the more minimalist end of the spectrum. But I'll show you.
Yeah.
I think the other section is microphone.
Yeah, I'm getting a bit of feedback, a bit of echo, all right, which is disappointing. But what can we do? We continue. Let's see.
It's a very quick tour. You know this one?
Yes.
My F1. There's my workbench.
Mm-hmm.
Funny enough, I just want to laugh on the workbench, but it's in pieces. Can you see?
Wow.
Yeah, we can see.
Ooh.
Oh yeah, baby.
It's a new Ari.
Oh yeah.
Bring it up to the camera, Ava. Bring it up to the camera if you can. If everything's screwed down,
I just have to make sure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's in pieces.
Wow.
Wow.
And number 2,
Unbelievable.
how long has it been since you have made an Ari watch?
I'm just making those holders for the bracelet at 6 o'clock. Here's a couple of parts.
Oh, I love those parts trays. I had a bunch of those I found in Boston. Those are those old baked light parts trays. I love those.
Good.
Yes.
If you would have waited with the bracelet, it would have been a complete watch.
Wow.
That's can you see that?
Yes.
That's the case back.
So cool.
That's the top bit of the case. My window.
Really?
We can't see it now. But
Yeah.
round about there is Mr. Later.
Yeah.
I can see Mr. Later's workshop from there. My Schauble. 70. My CNC.
I see CNC.
This is why I love my workshop.
Beautiful.
Nice, beautiful.
This
Wow.
is beautiful. Yeah, beautiful.
Oh, what a
John, that's a playground for you.
absolutely. Yeah.
Ava, that looks absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much for showing us around. Guys, we do obviously have a sound issue. I'm not sure how to address it. A lot of echo, but
Yeah, we got to find out who. Can we find out who is the
how do we
culprit?
do that? You're the guy with all the
I'm
live.
out. That's me. I'm out. Is it me?
Hang on.
Mute the microphone.
It's the speaker. I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah, it was Ava.
Hey,
Yeah.
we are sorted. Sorry for that under a spot right in front of the microphone. Everybody, come back. Sorry, I scared you.
No,
It's
it's back again. It's back again. I don't know who it is.
Hang on. I muted myself there. I'll try it again.
Yeah,
Check 1 2. Check 1 2. 1 2 1 2.
that's better, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, folks. Well, there we go. We're going to, as I said to you all earlier on, this was going to be a learning curve for me because it's the first time that we've hosted a party of our friends, and
It's a party. We can do it anytime, Johnny. We can do it anytime.
And we don't check technical things. We just go for it. You get what you get. But we see, we're problem solvers. That's all of us together here. Anyway, I just want to say it's absolutely beautiful. Beautiful workshop, and the CNC machine. That's great. You know, it shows that we can do what we do and call it an in-house movement and call it an in-house timepiece because it literally is inside our homes. And it's a great feeling. You have beautiful light in there, and we just wish you so much luck and so much love, giving love back to the world with your timepieces again. We're just glad to have you back.
Wonderful.
And I realized lately, you know, I realized more and more that I mean, so far I've always, I realized that I always made watches for people that I liked. That I not only do I know them, I've never built watches for anyone that I don't know. You know, I was second party, like sold them through a second party.
Mm-hmm.
I also really like those people, you know, and I had requests that I turned down because these.
I know something about that, Eva.
Oh no!
I'll have to start working my way through and being more likable.
Well, but you know what we're all seeing this next wave of independence is. I mean, I built my own CNC machine from my own head, you know, because at that point in time I was like Eva, I was in a smaller place. But it shows that that's really what we need. That is the key when we can't have suppliers give us 50 of these or 300 rubies, jewels of one size, because that's all they'll sell, or 1,000 actually. You know, we can make most of the parts in a smaller space if we can acquire a small CNC machine, not just this monolith thing where we're going to make tons and tons of stuff. So, man, that's just great. Awesome.
Can I ask something?
But also, this is like that's like a drawn out project. You know, making a watch is basically your everyday life for a very long time, and you want it to go to a good home, and you also want, you know, I'm always selling it before I start, so because I want the future owner to be part of the process, part of the creation process. You know,
That's so badass.
They get that's a prototype. So they get it as attached to it as I get attached to it, you know, because it's a long process.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Eva, can I ask something?
Ask a question, Eva? What you showed us here now, how long has it been since there's been a new Ari off your bench?
It's been a while, because it's been, I moved back to Europe, you know, a couple of years ago. And since then, I didn't really settle down enough to build a new one. But currently, I'm working on a new model, on a different watch.
Wow.
I'm thinking it out, you know. I haven't put it onto paper. Yeah, maybe onto paper, but not into a workable 3D drawing construction. But yeah, I got something else.
Wow, that's something to look forward to. That's big news.
Yeah.
So I hope whenever it's ready to be unveiled, Eva, that you can come along and let us all have a look at it, and we can go into the details. And
wow, we really kicked you in the ass, huh? You're back to work now. I'm sorry. We're all sorry, but we're happy.
Absolutely. Listen,
you know, Eva, it is really it's like true independence.
What do you got here?
What do you got there?
Let me show you my pin vise. See that?
Wow!
Oh, cool!
Happy birthday to you.
But I
really enjoy your program because, you know, it saves me leaving the house, and I can get to see other people's workshops, you know, other great watchmakers' workshops. And I hope your show goes on for a really long time.
It's been brilliant.
I'm really enjoying it.
It's been brilliant. Eva, you've really gone.
That's great, man. It's so killer.
Thank you so much.
I think we all enjoy like looking at everybody's, you know, workshops. It's a peek into how we work. And I've been trying to say this before. It's like there's certain machines and certain tools, like a Schaubling 70, that we all like to work with and stuff. But even if we come out of the same school, we all went to we went to Wostep in Switzerland, in Neuchâtel, a real like the school. And if we come out of there, it's still, I look at John's bench. He works a different way than I work because we're humans. We find our way, and especially in what we are creating. Same as music. Musicians might get to the recording studio to record on the same song, but everybody's got different equipment, different guitars, they use different strings. Even though we're schooled in music a certain way, it's that humanness that we love, and we love to peek into somebody else's shop, like we just got to see into yours and how you work. And it's fascinating for us, and it's fascinating for collectors now. And true independence is creating our art to give back to the world, be it in one piece a year, be it in 3, 5, 10, whatever it may be, as long as it's ours. It's all ours, and no one can tell us what to do or how to make it. Look at Andy Warhol, what he did, right? He wasn't really Mr. Famous. You all might think, I was a New Yorker, we knew of him, but he wasn't like this monolithic until he was passed away, We just don't know where our art is going to go. You can't stop creating your art, but you got to keep going.
Yeah. Listen, Pietro has just asked me there. He has a question to put to us. So I know, Pietro, you've to scoot in about 30 minutes, maybe less, if your battery is down. John, I hope you don't mind if I jump across to Pietro for a moment. Excellent. Let's have a look.
No, sorry, I don't want to be the party stopper, and I don't want to be too serious, but I really have a question for Eva, because obviously at the limited edition we're trying to contribute humbly to create the culture of independent watchmaking. It's very simple. I think independent watchmaking is the metaphor of the life that we are going to live from now to the future, where people with ideas and people with the guts and the courage to do things differently will succeed. And I'm totally convinced of this. So it goes well beyond art. And with the limited edition, we're trying to push this culture, because it's going to help my children to have ideas, to think out of the box, to do things differently. So for me, again, it's become a purpose in life. But my question is, Eva, you know very well that a big number of very talented ladies watchmakers are behind the scenes in the horlogerie departments of some of the best brands, some of the best watchmaking names. And I think Dan can also confirm this, having been obviously for so long at Chopard horlogerie department. Do you feel the weight of that, the weight of the fact that we need Eva, we need Rebecca Struders, we need Fiona Kruger, to create more of a culture of gender neutral in watchmaking, which is still quite male dominated?
I'm just doing my thing like I always used to do before. I don't quite understand your question. What is it that we need to do differently?
Yeah, no, I'm just saying that when you visit Girard-Perregaux horlogerie department, when you visit Chopard horlogerie, you see a lot of women, skilled master watchmakers that are actually women. Whereas in the world of independent and in the world of watchmaking, the faces and the characters are more men. So the reason why I would love to have you, I would love to have Fiona Kruger or Rebecca Struders on our platform, is because I think there is a need for that representation of also women watchmakers that are not spoken of enough, I guess.
But we are here, Pietro, we're here. We're in our workshops, and especially Rebecca, she's out there a lot, huh? You can see a lot of work. She's showing her work.
I think
this whole women's thing, I don't really get it, because I never felt at a disadvantage at all. If anything, we have an unfair advantage, being so few of us. I know there's a lot of talented women in watchmaking. They're everywhere.
Absolutely.
It's probably a little bit it's probably a little bit more difficult juggling family and work, but I mean, I'm the last one who wants to whinge about that. It's that's my big goal, to be able to do both.
I think what Pietro is saying. What Pietro is saying is we're very glad to have you, but in all of independent watchmaking, as it's birthing at this new level, I say we're at our third level already right here. That this platform of independence, that we know that there's a lot of women in watchmaking and great watchmakers, but I also see a lot of them working at the bench in a big company. And I also wish that I think they all look up to you tremendously, that they can take that leap of faith and start to create on their own an independent timepiece of whatever their dream may be, and come out from behind the corporate workbench, let's call it, or whatever you might want to call it. Is Pietro? Am I more on target there? Is that pretty good?
Yeah. No, absolutely. If I look at our platform, for example, we have 30 names of watchmakers, and there is no representation of women, whereas I know from my 20 years in the watchmaking that most and a lot of very skilled watchmaking ladies are out there, but they're just not known by the majority of collectors. And I see that because a lot of, Rebecca is out, Eva is out, same with Fiona, but very few collectors actually know about them. So it is one of my missions to try to take these to light in the future. So absolutely.
Yeah, but I'm also with Ava because the amount of the time that me and John and everyone spend in Switzerland, we see so many incredible women watchmakers. To us, it's just like we don't think they're women watchmakers, and I think that's what Ava was saying. We're all just watchmakers, But what Pietro is trying to say is, hey, break out from behind the bench at wherever's Rob Pergo, wherever it may be.
Yeah, but everybody can contact me directly. Everybody can contact Rebecca directly. I'm sure. I don't know her personally. I only know us through social media, and we are out there, And what I really want to make very clear, I was never at a disadvantage. I never felt a disadvantage, And I don't want to be seen as women are the little victims or something, because we're not. We're building watches and we're having fun,
No,
and
I think
all these women in watchmaking months and all that peeves me a little bit, to be honest. We're not different.
Yeah.
I think the guys in watchmaking, they're doing spectacular work, too.
I think art. I think art is a great leveler, and any of the arts, it's a great leveler. The barrier, the definition is blurred, and or more blurred than it is in other walks of life. So if you're an artist and you have that talent and that ability and that very rare little touch of finesse that can distinguish you from another one of the crowd.
Sorry, I just thought of a funny story that probably relates to Ava and John. Like when we were in watchmaking school, and we're doing hairsprings, it doesn't matter what race you are. It doesn't matter if you're male or female. You're going to get sent back to your bench if the shit ain't 110% right, bro. Yeah. So there's no separate hurting, It's like that's it. So when we're done, we're done, We're all equal on the playing field.
Absolutely. That's brilliant. So
back to your seat, Spitz. That hairspring's not good. The overcoil's back. Back to your seat. Yeah. Doesn't matter what your name is. It's back to your seat. He's looking at the hairspring. He don't care.
Absolutely. So, John, I am sorry that we have kept you out of the loop sometimes, because in your own experience, your own career, your sister has played a part in the in your watches, yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Frances, she's an artist in the traditional sense. She studied fine arts, and she currently makes jewelry and still paints. But she designed. She contributed a lot of elements to the McGonigle watches and designed the engraving. And recently, she's done extraordinary engraving for a tourbillon, which you may have seen that Stephen has just brought out, where the entire case is engraved. And but I know Pietro is specifically talking about watchmakers, and from my first day in watchmaking school in Dublin, right through to working in Switzerland and working in other countries, there were always very talented women watchmakers working with me. And I think that particularly, you were saying, Dan, that you'd see big departments full of women. And I think that was kind of traditionally the thing where they would work on, I think they're blessed with more patience than a lot of men have. So I think they could actually, persist with delivering very regular quality, but on maybe areas that were important, but maybe a bit repetitive. But that's changed. Like if you go into the very top workshops now, the very highest brands, and brands I've had the fortune either to visit or work with, such as Global Forcy, Clara, places like that, Renaud Papi. You've got women doing the very highest end watches. And I think that there is correct me if I'm wrong, but I've always perceived that there is a slight difference in temperament, in that a lot of the guys will be, they'd really have to show that they're really good and everything like that. Whereas a lot of the women I've worked with, they would be a lot calmer, and they wouldn't feel the need to show off in the same way as guys would. They just do it. And maybe that's the reason why an awful lot of guys have went out and put their names on the dials of watches, where I think an awful lot of the most talented women who are out there haven't felt the need, with the exception of too few actually, I think you're right as well, Eva, that collectors, they don't perceive the difference. They just, it probably is a bit of an advantage to because it's a little bit novel, there being so few women watchmakers with their names and dials, that it does create a little bit of news. But after that, you're judged on the quality of your work. And
always.
No one would buy or watch it if it wasn't what it is. It's an extraordinary piece, and I'm delighted to see that there's another one in the works, and I can't wait to see what comes next. So,
Yeah, I remember also doing some time at Gerard Perregaux, and they came out with that crazy, the first ever like silicon escapement thing with that, it was like a straight beam.
The constant escapement.
One girl was in charge of all of that assembly. She was the only one that could actually do it and actually make it happen. But that doesn't give props to if you're male or female. She's just a badass watchmaker. I would sit there and watch her. I mean, became friends with her just because of how badass she was. Same with Ava. I don't look at it that way, and so I'm kind of with Ava a little bit here.
There are other women watchmakers as well that I want to get them on over the course of time. As Pietro mentioned, we have Fiona Kruger. There is Christian Hutter is running the most amazing company, Moritz Grossman. I'd love to get to that's an independent brand, a really strong independent brand.
Hey John. Hey John, what's with your other brother, and how many freaking siblings do you have? You got one that's teaching at a school on the other side of the planet. I mean, fill us in, bro.
Well, I'm not sure how many of us there are. There are 8 of us, so not 8 boys, but 8 siblings.
Wow.
And I've 2 brothers in Switzerland. One is not a watchmaker, and of course Stephen, but Anthony. 3 of us are watchmakers, and we all studied in the same college. That'll ring out in a minute. if it's important, I'll come back. But Anthony, he's the youngest of the three of us. He studied in the watchmaking school in Dublin, and then he worked with Vianney Halter for a while. And then while staying in Saint Croix, he starts to work with François Junot. Do you know his work? He makes automatons. They are hands down. We could sit here and debate all night about who makes the best watches in the world. There is no debate about the best automatons in the world. François Junot makes them, and his studio is the most incredible place. He studied fine arts and micromechanics, and when you go into his workshop, there's you'd have machines and lathes and stuff like that, but he'd do an awful lot of sculptures, a lot of art, and he makes anyone who he finds as an interesting face, he makes a cast of the face. And so he makes automatons on vast scales down to miniature ones, like he copied Jacques Edreau automatons, where you'd have a figurine about maybe a foot high, 30 centimeters high, sitting at a desk, writing his signature. And he could do it 1,000 times and it would never blur. Such would be the precision of the work. But everything from the clothes he's wearing to the piece of furniture he's sitting at to, every little detail is perfection. As he's writing, he's blinking, his eyes are blinking, his head is moving and stuff like that. And then he's done them on a vast scale. Like there's a carry-on tower clock in, I think, the town hall in a small town in the suburbs of Madrid. And he made figures that are about 150% life size, so much bigger. So you'd horsemen, you'd very medieval scene. So the clock, when it struck the hour, the tower clock would ring on carry-on bells, and on the floor below, a door would open and out would come this procession of animals and creatures and figures and everything like that, like horses. The articulation of the horses, the movement of the horses was so natural that to make it effective, he actually exposed the joints to show that it isn't a real horse. So that automaton, so the scale varies from 30 centimeters high to 3 stories high.
So your brother worked with him for a while, and then how did he end up teaching though?
Yeah, well, he worked in Italy and in California for a few years, doing restoration on important museum pieces and everything like that. And Martin Peters, who you know, he was the director of WOSTEP at the time, wasn't he, while you were there? Dan. Yeah. Yes. He's moved on from WOSTEP, and he himself and his partner Jessica, Jessica, they were approached to open up a watchmaking school in Cambodia, and they contacted Anthony, and he got the job, and now
it's a beautiful school. I saw pictures in the article. It's an absolutely beautiful school.
I think the equipment, it could be the best equipped school there is. Beautiful. Because Martin, he got some machines, like there's a Feldman CNC machine there, and he had custom built elements in Japan. So he was kind of marrying the very best from Europe and the very best from Japan, putting it in the one machine. Just like that throughout the entire.
It's beautiful stuff. Absolutely beautiful M1 he has with like an NSK spindle on there. By the way, you're in your workshop there. Is it possible to show us around there?
It's a complete catastrophe at the moment. Ask me another time.
Okay.
I'm in the middle of a few jobs, and no. I'll show you another time, guys.
All right. You should have said that I have some secret stuff here I'm not allowed to show.
Oh, yeah, that's what I meant.
If you told us, you'd have to kill us all. So, indeed. So, but
yeah, we gotta have we're gonna get your brother on here somehow. We're gonna get your brother on.
Yeah, and it might be interesting as well to talk to perhaps Martin Peters. I'm sure he's a very, very interesting guy. He worked on the sympathetic clocks. So he built Breguet sympathetic clocks. They were built up in Saint Croix by THA, which was owned and run by Denis Flageolet, who is now, of course, with Deptune. And Martin went on to work on the Omega Central Tourbillon. So and that was before he started working on Wollstadt, as the director. So his experience.
What are you working on now, John? Fill us in.
What am I working on? Elons, and it's been a busy start of the year. A lot of orders have come in, and
yay! Congratulations!
Absolutely, and helped in no small part by promotion from you guys and all three of you. So thank you very much. But I've a few bits of restoration that I'm finishing up with as well.
That's a big part of your. Yeah.
I think the balance is changing now. Like with the Elons, thankfully they've really taken off. I think people are really responding very well, to both the design, the concept, and the craftsmanship that I'm putting into it.
All we can say is congratulations, my man. You deserve that and more. Just keep rolling, bro.
I think Pietro may have to leave in the next.
No. You can't leave just yet. You haven't even talked to Pietro yet. Pietro, you can't go anywhere. He shows up with an Anthrax shirt on, and drinking his hand and guitars behind him. He's got to stay.
Well, Thomas of Watches and Words from Germany has got in touch with a question that would actually you could have answered this one, Pietro, and indeed it would be interesting to hear from Eva and John about their thoughts on this. Thomas is wondering what might help spreading independent watchmaking more: a special indie show or special much lower rates on the big shows for the participating indies. What do you think, Pietro?
Yeah, I guess, Johnny, you know my opinion, and we discussed this a few times with our collectors live in our broadcasts. And I think counterintuitively, actually, it's better for the independents to be together with the big brands because the game here is to get the independents known by those that think they know watchmaking. And of course they do, but sometimes they don't know enough of these incredible craftsmen and women behind watchmaking. So I do think that actually it would be amazing fun to have an independent watchmaking fair, and maybe one day we should do it just for the pleasure of getting all together and working, following our own rules. But at the moment, I think that on the back of the big brands is where the real switch is happening now. That's why at the GPHG, at Watches and Wonders, at Baselworld with Les Ateliers, independent watchmaking has started to really become a protagonist. That's my opinion.
Pietro, let me throw this out there, because I hear this story when I read the beginning stories of either a young independent watchmaker or a past story from someone who's now solidified themselves in independent watchmaking. How did you get your start? How did you sell your first pieces? Because we're always investing in new machines and new tools to ease our pain. And mainly, just as a musician, it helps us create something new. A tool does that we needed. But when it comes to the show, it's always like, how am I going to pay for the airfare? The booth is $15,000 for me to just go, and I only have 2 pieces, or maybe 1 by that time. That's all I have. So I'm just going to, here's the story. You ready? There's the story you always hear. I had 1 in my pocket, and I just went to Basel Fair, and I walked around, and a collector bought that one and ordered another one. I think as somehow, some way, we need to find a way where there's an organization that donates, and that for the people like that can have a free place that's not part of an organization, let's say, or they don't have to be voted in or anything like that, a place to show their pieces. They just show up right there.
I agree with that.
Takes down that wall, because they're not creating 10, 15, 20 pieces. They don't have $4 million in the bank. They don't have $50,000 in the bank. Whatever they get, it's going right back in to their art, right? So how do we overcome that? Because those people, they can't afford to come, say, from Japan or America or Brazil or wherever they are, where independent watchmaking is breaking out everywhere now, right? It's global because we can do things like this, to get to that one place in Switzerland or that one place in Japan where an airline ticket might be expensive. How do we start something that helps those people? And when they get there, boom, they have a place to stay. Boom, they can show their watches, they get orders, and they go home. And
yeah, I guess it depends on the perspective you're looking at the thing. So if you're looking from those people that you want to get engaged that don't know about independent watchmaking, then being together with the big brands is an advantage. If you're looking from the perspective of those that are already into independent watchmaking and want to come and just enjoy independent watchmaking, then yeah, a specific fair would be more useful probably.
Well, in the UK we have the Watchmakers Club which is hosted by that guy called David Brailsford, who we just cannot risk bringing onto the show because he would get us thrown off the internet. You know, and as you know, so there is a grassroots type thing happening on that's the UK that we're speaking about here, Pietro. So David and with Zeitwinkel and with Garrick and with other small brands starting to generate a little bit of a momentum there away from the big shows. Yeah,
absolutely. I think, we are partner of that event, so we truly believe in it, and it's a private event, and it would attract a certain number of people that has to be limited. So again, it depends. If we're talking about those that are already in the know, those kind of events are the best. If we're talking about spreading the culture of independent watchmaking, then trying to pitch independent watchmaking to those that just don't know. I can't tell you how many collectors we have. Honestly, we're just doing our humble job of spreading the word about independent watchmaking. And some people they would have not heard of John McGonigle, but they would have maybe not even heard of, Moser. It goes to that extent. We take it for granted that Moser is a brand that is a worldwide brand that is known by everybody. I can tell you for a fact there are still people thinking that there are 3 brands in watchmaking, and they're splashing incredible amount of money on those 3 brands just because they have no idea whatsoever what's behind, what's beyond. So in that sense, I believe that reaching where all these people that are unaware could be in terms of numbers more beneficial, but in terms of fruition and enjoyment of an event, you can't beat an independent watchmakers gathering. The Watchmakers Club in London is always great fun for those that know what they are going to do and going to experience as well. So it's actually a very interesting question, Johnny.
Absolutely. I'd like actually to throw it across to Eva and to John, respectively, and see, Eva, what would have you been attending the shows previously, or what would entice you to do so nowadays? Would it be a dedicated independent exhibition, or would it be in maybe the likes of the Hotel Hyperion in Basel, where it's close to the main Basel event, but where the indies are increasingly tending to gather there. What would attract you to a show?
Well, the people that are attending also.
Big deal.
Well, at the moment there's nothing on, but I hope once this whole unspeakable thing is over, I'm happy to travel to shows again. Do you mean to exhibit, or do you mean to rock up and talk with people and socialize, or?
Yeah, I guess it's not just to socialize, but it's because you're not there to socialize. You're making your watches. Your career is based around creating watches, and you rely on that for your livelihood.
Plus, we're watchmakers. We don't like to socialize.
Yeah, well, some do.
I like to socialize a lot, but our projects are very long, and most time is spent just on the workbench and head down, So the marketing part is just a very small part of it, but we have 24 hours in the day, and usually the independents that I know, they have full books, and they wouldn't be able to take more orders unless they hire a lot more people. So that problem doesn't actually present to us so much, unless it's an independent who's been able to get a group of employees together and the machinery to produce higher numbers of pieces. Otherwise, we're just like carving out some time to go to attend the shows and to meet people and to get some inspiration. But most of the people that I know that make one-offs, they have their books already full and they're just trying to fulfill their orders. Yeah. They don't need 100 clients. They need just a few.
It's brilliant, absolutely. And I think over the last year, we have really seen a real growth in awareness. More than anything, awareness. Because that's how you get the message out, is people knowing that you're there. People knowing.
What I think, though, Eva, is a lot of us, and especially younger watchmakers in this new wave of independent watchmaking, when there is a show, now and again, they would all, including myself, would love to see one of your pieces at a show, even though they are spoken for years and years in advance. That's what we're talking about. How do we spread the word of independent watchmaking to help the independent watchmaking itself? What kind of show would be cool for us? Not just the old Basel Fair, but independent watchmaking is getting, it's exploding. We are considered now, the Tony Iommis of watchmaking. If you want to look at it from music, we're like the inventors, we're the crazies and stuff like that. So just to make one of your beautiful pieces and then give it to the client, and none of us get to see that, and we would all love to see that. So that's what I'm thinking of.
Totally. Just if you don't mind me, Pietro, are you cool, or do you need to leave, or?
No, thank you, Johnny. Don't worry. In 5 minutes, I'll say bye. But it's already. I want to thank you. Thank you so much. But
no problem at all.
Well, look, Pietro, we all thank you for what you do, man. You don't get enough props either behind the scenes. We know you're always pushing. You don't sleep and all that kind of stuff. And and it's great, because independent watchmaking, we all have a different little way we work, right? A different little way that we run our business. I see some of the younger watchmakers, they're really go-getters. They're ready to go. They want to make, 15, 20 pieces a year, or they're just making modules that go on, an e-Bosch or whatever it may be. So they're in a different frame of mind. So you have to cover all bases of independent watchmaking.
And Eva is quite right. I believe that because what you do, what John does, what Dan does, it's art, it's artwork,
you can't. Marketing by definition is something that is it's like it's like a structure that you build on top of the real thing. So you guys are focused on the real thing, and then there should be people like ourselves, like Johnny, myself, passionate about it, that try to build that structure on top of the real product to entice towards a culture, because Johnny and I, we can't stand it when people splash money on something that is not worth that money. So we need to influence people to understand what's there beyond that. So I guess the limited edition worked quite well because we are filling that gap whereby watchmakers, they need to make watches. We are there to tell the story. And I think it's that's what's the most fascinating.
A lot of it is education, and some of that education some people need to be hands-on, and they need to make a weekend out of a trip if they're a collector, and get on their private jet or whatever it may be to come somewhere to actually talk to us and understand independent watchmaking, so they can get out of that frame of mind that you're talking about, where, well, if I buy one of their watches, how am I going to get it fixed? I mean, hopefully we've already broken through that, but Roger W. Smith has pretty much laid the groundwork to explain it, that when we make our own movies like Ava or John or myself, that it's way easier to get it fixed because we overbuild everything, and any competent, traditionally trained watchmaker later on, hundreds of years from now, can fix anything in our timepieces because we've created them to be that way, because we've repaired so many of the vintage watches that we love that can be repaired for centuries. And that's the way we build ours. That's the message, the main meat and potatoes message I think we all have to get to those collectors, that they don't realize that their name brand watch with the new blue dial and tinted a little blue this year, so he has to have one, that they only have to carry 20 parts for 20 years. After 20 years, you're screwed on every watch you bought from all those companies. Whereas our timepieces and independents, most of the independents, or a lot of the independents, are repairable forever. There's no silicone hairsprings in what we do. There's no bullshit. There's no smoke and mirrors. That's a real meat and potatoes message that we have to get across. And some people, we might have to get that across by shaking them a little bit, and holding one of our pieces.
I think it's if you can condense it in a nutshell, I think what I gather after 5 years experience is independent watchmakers are here to leave a mark on the history of watchmaking. Brands are mainly there for obvious reasons that I'm not judging, but the main priority, the main drive is to create value for shareholders. So it has a difference in the mission, basically. So, and it's fine as long as this is explained and this is put out there for those that are putting the money in to understand, I guess.
Yeah, well, like in music, you're wearing one of my shirts there. In music, there's corporate music, right? There's pop songs and all that bullshit stuff that could be here today and gone tomorrow. And then there's a music that I helped create, a wave of music called thrash metal that was the real deal. You got a piece of us. Like, whatever it was real. It didn't come from anybody at a suit and tie, wearing a suit and tie, sitting at a desk, It was the real, that you got us. When you saw us live, you got us. You bought a T-shirt. That T-shirt was made by the five of us on a bus. We decided what it would be. No one intervened. And we not only that, we would see the material, because we were buying shirts of other bands, and we'd wash it once and the material would be all fucking screwed, So we were like, when we print our shirts, they would tell us, well, you're not going to make as much money. But we didn't give a crap. It wasn't about that. It was about, we're going to make a shirt that in 10 years, you're still wearing my freaking T-shirt. Because that's the way I like my T-shirts when I get a good one. I don't care if it fades. That's cool. As long as it doesn't, I'm not wearing it like this, Yeah. And it's the same thing in watchmaking. It falls right over into independent watchmaking. That's a big difference, man.
That's the thing about independence, whether it's music, whether it's art, whether it's watchmaking, whether you're a writer or you're a photographer or anything like that there. You stamp your own personality onto the work that you're doing, and to hell with the consequences. It's something that you do because it's in you, and this is what is coming out of you. This is whether it is in you're making your music down and you're killing it, with your band, or you're creating a masterpiece that looks like nothing else. Like like both Ava and John have created watches that look like nothing else, and that I think is the spirit of independence, and
but it's all these little things that we know that are finally coming out because of that shows like this, and speaking to John and speaking to Ava. But that somehow people like Pietro have to somehow figure out a way to get these little messages across. Like when John's making something, or Ava just showed us her timepiece. Like it's down to the metallurgies. We don't use or choose metallurgies to make parts in our timepieces and then test them to see how skinny we can make them to use less stuff so it'll last just so long past that 20-year mark, and then it'll break like they do in cars. We do the opposite. We're looking for what's the best, what's lasted. We already know it's lasted 200-300 years because we've repaired a watch like that. What's that wheel made out of? What is that metal and how do I get it? Because that's what I'm going to use on my wheel in my watch. That's what we do. Those are the messages that have to be, to get across to collectors and just connoisseurs of independent watchmaking.
Absolutely.
I'll have to say bye, everyone, but happy first birthday. So good to see Ava. So good to see John. And Dan, Johnny, you're legends. See you very soon.
Wonderful. Thanks a million for taking the time.
You're a walking legend, Pietro. Thank you.
And next time, Pietro, we'll get you to unhook one of those guitars off the wall and play a little bit of Queens of the Stone Age or something, my man.
Not when Dan is there, please.
Later.
You take care, my friend. Okay.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Oh, wow. John. I have, we didn't get right. What would entice you to go back to that question again?
Yeah, it's.
I know
Well, I think to add to what Ava said, like if someone contacted me to go to an exhibition, I think the first question would be who else is going, and then the second consideration would be where is it, because we've gone to several shows. I'm sure you have as well, Ava, where people just didn't get it. And I think it can be, there's the culture of independent watchmaking is more understood in some markets more than it is in others. And if you go to a place too early, we've gone to some countries where, you're explaining to people who they like what they're looking at, but they're never going to buy it because they've just been introduced to the concept of independent watchmaking for the first time. So I think there's a progression that most collectors have to go through. I'd say very, very few collectors buy an independent watchmaker's watch as their first high-end watch. They'll go through the process of buying other very fine watches, but more commercial brands, but more established brands. And I think as they learn more and more and get more into the appreciating the mechanisms, the craft, they start getting curious about independent watchmakers. I think the internet and what you guys do really can't be overstated, because it gives us a kind of a disproportionate amount of airtime that we would ordinarily, because I suppose for independence there's kind of there's a human story behind it, and that would be compelling and interesting for people to hear. So I think a lot of watchmakers that could be making, if you're on your second watch, how long is it since you made the first one? And it's very, very newsworthy because people are really interested in it, whereas a more commercial mainstream brand could make either hundreds if it's a very, very small brand, or thousands if it's a more normal brand. And they're more up against it. They really have to run advertisement campaigns and marketing campaigns. A lot of us don't. We're very, very fortunate that people are interested in what we do. And
wait, kill your mic for a second, John.
Yeah.
Because there's no bullshit. We are the story. There you go. Because we are the story. We don't have to create a marketing story for what we do. It's we're the real. Ava's the real deal. You're the real deal. People really enjoy seeing Ava's workshop. Her where she moves to around the world, wherever she lives, getting through this struggle or whatever that may be. They're living our life. They're living, following her life is in her product, and we don't have to create a facade and bullshit, basically. Like I was saying before, like pop music had to do when we started. What we did, we lived in those record companies. They're creating it all. It's all fake. The whole persona, the whole everything of that pop star, it's all fake. It's just made up bullshit. Whereas the music we created, thrash metal, that was real. The kids watched our struggle, how hard it was to get record deals and how hard it was to do this and how we had to invent guitars and amplifiers to make the sound that was in our head. Now take that and flip that to watchmaking. I'm sitting here getting all greasy, in an old jig boring machine, trying to create this machine to make my part. It's the same thing, isn't it? It's the real deal. People are watching what I'm doing, fixing up my machine. They're watching you make this new masterpiece, John, and start this whole new chapter of your life. And they want in, they're loving it. And hopefully next time we can see a workshop, though. So yeah, we don't really have to sell the story, because luckily, like you said, we have the internet and we can get it out there a little bit now.
I think there are a lot of really good mainstream watches out there. In fact, it really is a golden age. I see some mainstream watches where they're really good designs. A lot of the mechanisms might be the same, but like they've well thought out dials, hands, cases, beautifully constructed and finished and everything like that. And I think for someone who wants to spend a bit of money, it could be for themselves, it could be for their son or daughter who's graduating or something like that. There's a lot of keepers out there, and I think what we do is a different thing. And it's, I think there's interest in what we do because it's hands-on and it's appreciated for that, as well as the fact that the designs can be, we can take a bit more of a risk with the designs because it would be very hard to mass produce a curved watch like you have, Eva. And I think, I would imagine that the reason you're doing it, the main reason you're doing it is to satisfy something in you. And then you're doing it for someone who will appreciate it. And so yeah, it's that message is out now. It's clear. I think collectors have more confidence. But back to the original question, how to get independent watchmakers more out there or anything like that. If you look at, say, the Basel Fair, that's a mixture of independents and the mainstream brands. Everybody goes there. It was a great meeting place because, it was, yeah. Everybody went there. I'm going to miss that. I'm going to miss, whether we were exhibiting or it was actually a lot more fun if you were just visiting because you could wander around the place. There wouldn't be the pressure of, Johnny, you've been my wingman. But yeah, you do come back with more lead in your pencil. You've, particularly when you're working your own and you're very far away from your clients and everything like that. It's lovely to meet people face to face. It's lovely to put the watch in their hand, and it's lovely to meet your friends and see what they're doing and everything like that. And you come back with an extra bit of lift, a bit of energy. And so they're great occasions. But I remember when I was working in England, one of my first jobs, there was a George Daniels exhibition in Guards in London. And so I went down from Manchester just to see this. And it had a huge impact on me. He wasn't there. There were just his watches behind a pane of glass. But to see them in the metal, see them, even if there was a pane of glass between me and them, it was incredible. So, like, I do appreciate how it's frustrating for some collectors just to, have images on the net to look at. They want to see
that. That's what I was trying to say to.
Yeah.
That's what I was trying to say to Ava. It's like if she could somehow in the future make one extra. So she can grace everybody at these shows because what she's done and what she's created it's crazy. It really is. It's just crazy. Plus now she's gonna make something new, so we don't know if she's even ever gonna make another one of what's on her bench today. So those are the kind of things. It is really hard because, like me, I don't know how many a year I'm gonna make. It's the same as Ava. It's very, very low quantities. I'll make what I make. I make what I like. Just like my music was, and they're spoken for, like Ava said. And if that guy decides he doesn't like it, then there's someone else on that magical list. But to have one to take around is it has to be.
Yeah, Ava, have you? I obviously have never had the good fortune to meet you at any of the shows. But did you exhibit at Basel World, or
in 2011? Yeah, I did exhibit.
Okay, on your own, or was it part of a group? With
the HCI.
HCI, yeah.
I was a candidate. I was a candidate for 2-3 years or something. But the rules are that you have to exhibit with them 3 times in a row, and then you can become You can be elected a member by everybody. But I was in Australia and everything was happening, and I had orders, and I didn't exhibit 3 years in a row, and then eventually I left again. But back then I exhibited with the HCI. Yeah. But I get what you mean, and John, I hear you. I feel the same. Yeah, when I go to watch museums and I see the special pieces, it moves me a lot, and I understand what you're saying. But there's the next watch that I'm making. It'll be less elaborate. It'll be just a really beautiful watch.
Beautiful.
And I want to make more pieces, but I've just, again, I've come to the realization that I just want to make one-off pieces. I don't feel like making the smallest series. I just don't want to. I want to. I'll be starting with the first one. I'll be starting with the first one. That'll be a unique piece, and once I have pictures, I'll show pictures and then sell the next. But they'll be similar, or they'll be the same technically, but the execution will be different every time. And also, there are collectors out there that just want the number one. They don't want the number two. And I was thinking, the number two, you just put as much as yourself into it.
Right.
It shouldn't be worth less than the first one.
Sure.
And,
when do you think we might? When do you expect to break your new watch to unveil that?
I don't know.
Never.
I see. I'm busy. I'm like John probably also, I'm busy with restorations, with customizations, and I do all sorts of other stuff also. And I just follow my flow sort of thing, and I won't do a big unveiling. I'll just come out with it at some stage when I'm ready, when I have pictures to show, But as Dan said, our work just speaks for itself, Marketing budget is zero. It just speaks for. We just post some making of pictures, and we are ever so lucky that the collectors of independent watches, they're very much interconnected, and they talk amongst each other, and they know about what we're doing. And especially now with social media, we're very, very lucky.
Yes.
And for me, I'm very approachable. I don't like telephone calls, but anyone can write me an email, and then we can call. And John, I went to visit John a couple of years ago in his workshop. That was awesome. Everybody's very approachable, and also as I said before, I sell my watches before I start on them. That way, the new owner can follow the whole process. They see it all happening, and I send them making of pictures along the way.
Why aren't you posting pictures of what's on your bench now on your Instagram, like as you go along?
I'm just not that type, really. I'm busy working. I don't wanna post stuff all the time. I don't know. I do it every now and again. I have something.
Instagram is very easy. We would love to see it. Is all I'm saying. I'm not yelling at you. I'm just yelling at you. Again.
Now you do that, Dan. That's fine.
You snap some pictures and upload them, and you just write today.
I have people that take pictures of themselves while they're dancing at the club and posting it straight away.
We don't care about that. We want to see what's on your bench.
But, guys, I actually think that we're heading on something here, because we've been talking about how John's order book is full, Ava's order book is full, working on a new piece, doing both of the restorations. The internet has been a fantastic leveler for the independent watch maker to be able, if you want to, Ava,
if you want to,
what you're doing, to plug every single day or every week or whatever frequency that you want to do it. But the big guys can only do the same, because there's when Rolex introduce a longer index or a deeper magnifying loop,
that was pretty good.
Give it a new model reference number and shoot it out, and or they make something in a slightly different material. It's still the internet they're using to communicate nowadays. So it's the same platform that you're using. And I honestly think in the age of the pandemic, the coronavirus, which has just completely disrupted at least 1 year of commerce worldwide, that the internet has given the independent watchmakers that a huge shop window, and people have really caught on to it. And I believe that. I think a lot of the people we have spoken to, Dan, have been very busy. Yeah.
Yeah. No, absolutely. We have our own. Instagram is a magazine. As far as I'm concerned, it's a modern day magazine. YouTube, you have your own television channel, right? And there's other areas of the internet as well if you want to utilize it. But there is two sides to that. Like Ava says, I find myself the same way. It's like I got to be on usually when I'm not in this building mess, but usually I got to be on the computer in CAD, right? I got to be at my bench. I got to be on a machine. And then you want me to what? Snap pictures, fix pictures, write stuff, put in tags, and then it doesn't work. Then you fight, and then an hour went by that, I could have been at my bench making something. But there is a way and we have to be able to promote ourselves, not just for ourselves, but to promote independent watchmaking, because it is a long way off. What about your 5-year plan? What about your 8-year plan? Do you have one? What's going to happen the next year if you don't have an order after that one piece on your desk is done because you didn't post some pictures of, you know, what you're really doing at your bench? Because you really should, because what we do as artists, other people, somehow we pick up little techniques from it. I know I do. I'm looking at pictures of what's on people's desks and what they're doing and what they're using. Maybe they got a new tool or a new way that they're doing anglage or whatever it may be, you know, and it might fit the way I work. You know, it might not. I might look at someone else and go, how the hell do you make that? You know, how the hell do you work like that? But for me, that's how I learn stuff in this modern era. Mm-hmm. So it is good to use it.
Well, here
we have to completely immerse ourselves into our work, right, John? Mm. Then, you know, you're immersed and you're not thinking about when was the last time I posted or something.
No.
I get what you're saying, yeah.
Yeah, I'm greasy inside a machine. I just finally felt time. It's like time to just post some pictures of what I'm doing here, you know. But it's the same thing. I'm same as you, Abe. I just going to be creating my pieces, and each one is unique. That is what it is. That's it. There is no number 2. There is no number 3. It's when it's done, it looks like that, and here it is. You know, that's what you get.
Brilliant. But, so I can't wait to see your this next creation, because like Ari has set a very high bar in terms of standards of what we expect. So maybe it'll be an inverted
corkscrew,
60 degree. It'll be, she can turn right. So who knows? So listen, we're approaching the 90-minute mark again. These things, like when we started out, Dan, to do these, this was supposed to be about 60 minutes, top and tail.
Top. So we were like 30 minutes, and if it blows to 60, well, I probably never will. You know.
No, I've given up on that, and it doesn't matter anymore. So.
Well, you know what's good. We know who our crowd is, because the attention span of this generation is now is like what, 18 seconds. So that's all we got is, hey, how you doing? It's our birthday. Hey,
we're allowed an old guy to me. But I wanted to bring John back into the conversation. So you're as you say, you've had a remarkable start to 2021 with at first, whenever Elon was first introduced, John's watch. I think you would admit yourself, John, that you didn't use social media. You didn't really pump it out there. Like you just, but over time, people talk about these things on the internet, and that's where slowly, surely, the phone started ringing, your emails started pinging, and you had Elon, and suddenly you found yourself that you're subscribed, I think, up to the end of 2022, if I'm not mistaken.
2023, yeah. I suppose in a way I kind of made the watch and then thought about how to promote it. And one of the things I did was I got a really good web designer to do my website. So in case you didn't know, Johnny did my website. They did a very fine job on it. But as regards marketing and using the internet, you're absolutely right, Dan. We have this free facility, which is Instagram and Facebook and those sorts of things. And I don't make proper use of it. I should be using it every day. I know it, or at least once a week. And it's we've got a platform there to show people our work, and we could be brand building, like brand building. You could be building up our stock in terms of people's perception of our work and stuff like that. I'm very bad at it, but I keep telling myself I better start, I better knuckle down and do this. But it's not a reflex I have. I don't, in the middle of the day, just kind of go, "Oh, I better photograph this." But I should develop that, because it's, we're quite privileged in that people are interested in it, so it'd be good to show it. It's just I'll start tomorrow. I do intend to start at some point, or do more, but it's as to what you're saying, Johnny, earlier on, like the pandemic probably has been a great leveler. The shop window, the only shop window available to everybody is the internet, and for that reason, we again have a disproportionate access to it for what we do. So we should be, at least using it to. I think you could be photographing, like blitzing people with photographs, and that could get boring, But I think there's enough sufficiently interesting things going on in our workshop for it to be of interest to people. And a quick snap here and there, and a bit of a cleanup of the image.
Yeah, I mean, like
it's not that hard. Yeah.
Kill it. I remember myself going, like, looking for pictures of your workshop, and there's like one of like, well, I think one of your machines. I think it was the M1 or something like that, and that's it. And I'm like trying to like move the photo this way and that way. Like, what other machines you got in it? And there is none. There's like nothing. So it would be great. Yeah, it would be great if a lot, not just yourself, John. I'm not just picking on you, bro. It's just everyone. That's why I do ask sometimes, me and Johnny, like, can you take us around your workshop, hold your laptop, whatever it is. Like, we had Marco Lang on, his new workshop and his story last week or the week before, whatever that was. And man, I loved his stuff, what he did, and to see him like go back to the roots again, like a lot of people are doing, right? And do what we do, right? A one-man show, and his setup, and I know how long it must have taken him to set that whole thing up, right? And if we didn't ask him, we'd never see that. Like, it's his little dungeon that we don't know about. He's just, here's my new watch, right? Okay, here it is. It's like, dude, how did you do that? And we're thinking, how did he do that? But by seeing his workshop, right, and his blood and sweat and whatever that is, and his real blood in his workshop, and in your workshop, and in Ava's new workshop, and in my blood here, we know what's going on. We know what he's creating right there. Right? He's rhodium plating, like right there. He made his own rhodium plating machine. Like, that's badass, man. That's like a dude in music going, yeah, I just went in the backyard, chopped down a tree, and made the guitar. I mean, I hope people realize that who are collectors. And what's really funny is that my friend Zoltan from the band Five Finger Death Punch, he used to, he grew up behind the Iron Curtain. And that's the story he told me, what he did. He couldn't get a guitar. He chopped down a tree, made his own guitar. And then when the wall came down, the first night he came across the wall, we just happened to be playing us and Metallica in Berlin, I think. And that was his first metal show. So there's your impact in music, right? That changed his life that night. Just like we go to see timepieces now, like you would tell in your story, John, seeing the Daniel stuff, it changes your life. Or it shifts you, right? It's an immediate shift. We all have that in watchmaking as well. So I just think it's really cool. I think it's cool to see how people work, man. It's awesome.
I have a thought on this, because John and Ava, not, as you say, prolific social media users, and I can understand that in a sense, right? And for a couple of reasons. One, I used to post nearly every day, post photographs of beautiful watches that I had seen at the shows, wherever they got. I began, because to go onto social media, it meant I was seeing other things as well that were not connected with the watches, and a lot of that content pissed me off. Like, it shaped. If the first thing you're looking at is bad news on Twitter from the moment you open your eyes, it doesn't really set your day up well. So I kind of eliminated a lot of that there, and I again, like John, like Ava, I should be using social media more than I do. I currently use it exclusively pretty much for in the metal. But I also think the second side of that, you're only one person and there are only so many hours in the day, and you have only so many watches that you can actually make in your career. So if you go mad on social media when you are still only one individual watchmaker working in your own little workshop, and that's the way you want it to be, you don't want to grow. You do not want to have an apprentice and a trainee and a junior watchmaker climbing up the ladder, coaching someone how to do finishing or how to achieve the standard that is required for your watch. Then by promoting yourself on social media, you're inviting emails, phone calls, messages, all those sorts of things that are going to distract you from what you want, from what you got out of bed to do that day. I think this is where independent watchmaking is so.
But wait a minute, I hear you. I'm with you. But watch this. You ready? Post a picture, write what you want, go back to work. You're not obligated to answer people. Look at the Japanese independent watchmakers who don't speak English. People still watching their platform, and just leave it at that and get back to work. I mean, how would we know that Ava says, oh, by the way, I have a CNC machine. She shows us a picture. But we don't, wait a minute, that means Ava had to go learn CAM and how to get the files out and put them in the machine and know when it's not working correct. We wouldn't know that unless she posted a picture on
it works for some people.
How intelligent she is. She had to stop everything, right, and learn that. That's part of what someone should know about her and her watchmaking as well. If she'd like to let people know that, that's up to her. That's her brand. But to me, that opens up a lot when you can at least post some pictures and then just fly away. Because you're 100% right, Johnny, and that's why we were all nodding our heads. We don't have that time. Even me right now, I'm setting up a whole new workshop. It's like 4.5 months here of construction, and now I'm restoring. I have 3 machines to restore before I can even get back to my bench. And if I find that if I stop for a minute and just upload a picture, I mean, that's time I could have been inside the machine. So I get it.
That's okay if it's something you don't.
But if I didn't, right, then I'd just be like, oh, let me post a picture 2 months from now when my movement is ticking, right? And look at the new workshop. Everyone just thinks I went out and bought a bunch of stuff. It was delivered and I just work. That's not my story.
Yeah, that's like me. I have to go and buy my. I need a Shoblin 70. I'm sure. I don't know what the hell I'm going to do with it.
But if it wasn't for you, Dan, I'd say we all have to be a little bit introverted to do what we're doing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, besides something like this, where if I have something in common, obviously we all have something in common, so I can talk. Same in music, but beyond that, I'm silent. I'm a very introverted, quiet. I'm just me and my machines are fine. Or my past life was me and my guitar equipment. That was like the same kind of thing that I built my own amplifiers and weird digital stuff like that. I'm more good with machines and stuff than humans. So yeah, introverted.
Yeah.
Innovator, that kind of stuff.
We are over the hour and a half once again, and it has been a real pleasure to do this. It's slightly different format. I have learned a few different things too. I've learned I have to be a little bit more nimble with the controls here, and but I've learned stuff here. But I just wanted to thank you, Dan, for sticking with this through for the last year, and because our numbers, as you can probably see, they're not huge. They do grow. We get about between 1,000 and 1,400 views for most episodes across all the different platforms. So it is something that's there. The people that are watching it are enjoying it, and. So I want to thank you, Dan, for sticking with it. It's been great fun over the last year. Looking forward to rolling it out for another year and seeing where we take it. To Eva and to John, you have been our earliest guests, and to have you back and to just to shoot the breeze. Literally, there's no agenda tonight, other than just to have a bit of a chat. And thank you as well, guys, so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for being here at the beginning.
Yeah.
Thank you for believing us.
The numbers don't matter. I hope you keep going anyway. I enjoyed every episode tremendously.
It's fantastic, guys. I think, and it's reflected in the people. And I'm not talking about myself. That you get on you get very interesting people on, because what you're opening them up in a very interesting way, and in a way that's it's nice to be able to talk about your work in a very calm way, where in a very conversational way, because you don't often get the opportunity to really explain what you do in a soundbite, and I believe you've got a very interesting guest next week. Maybe you can't say that, Jack, can you? Or you can't?
Well, we haven't announced it yet, but heck, there's no reason not to. Yeah, we've got Jean-Claude Beaver is joining us next week, and it's on World Earth Day as well. So it is. That's a subject that's very close to his heart as well. Is sustainability and the impact of watchmaking in general on our planet, on the whole repercussions of virtually everything we do. There's no better man to have his career has been milestoned with absolutely historically important milestones in watchmaking.
That's going to be great, and I just want to say again, thank you to you guys for coming on early and in the show, and we have good plans, and it's not how many people we reach. Obviously, being live is difficult. The podcast reaches many more thereafter, and it's here forever, and that's the most important part. Is information forever for younger watchmakers or collectors into the future. And me and Johnny have a lot of plans for into the future for In the Metal, and I think it's going to be a wonderful platform to express who we are to the world going forward. And I'm real happy. Look, we all know it, we're independent, right? You got to start somewhere, and we did. You got to lay a foundation and find your way, and we did. And it's just a truthful way to get out how we all feel. And it's very hard to do that as independent watchmakers. We are kind of a quiet bunch, and a lot of us don't want to come out and say anything. We just like to do what we do. Yeah. So it is really hard. And hopefully I can give this a little bit of a cool factor going forward, because I used to be cool. Hopefully I can stamp something on this, that's not just suit and tie and a collar and a white coat kind of thing, because the white coats are cool, but only for a little while.
Brilliant. Guys, listen, thank you so much. We'll say our goodbyes in a moment or so after I've ended. But look, everybody who has followed us and watched us for the last 12 months, thank you so much for supporting us, for the comments, for the feedback when we're live, for everything that you've done. Thank you so much indeed, and we will be back as we've now announced with Jean-Claude Beaver. Wow, that is a kind of an endorsement of what we've been doing, and the fact that. But you know something, every one of our guests, Eva and John, have been absolutely incredible. And it's just been, for me, a wonderful thing to do over the last year. Folks, thank you so much indeed for watching our first ever roundtable and our first anniversary event on In the Metal. I am sure I will practice and get better at it, and we will do this again sometime with some amazing guests. But thank you so much for watching. And we will see you again next week. And until then, you take care. Stay safe.